everybody, welcome to Crafts in an Instant. Today we are going to make tie-dye socks. So you can get any type of socks you want. They can be the little no-shows, or you can do the tube socks. If you don't want to do socks, you can do a t-shirt, a kitchen towel, a headband, whatever you want to do. Just make sure it's a white or a very light article of clothing so that the dye is able to dye the fabric. So you will need some dish soap, rubber bands. Now your rubber bands can be thin ones like this one here, or thick ones like this one. You will need dye any color you like. I have a red and a yellow. You need a spoon, you need a measuring spoon, and then you need a towel or a dish mat or something that you're able to lay your socks on. And then of course your Instant Pot. Now if you don't have an Instant Pot, it's okay. You can use a pot on the stove, so that's perfectly fine. So first we need to fill this pot with water. So there's a 2/3 marker in here, so fill it up to that 2/3 the way. So that's what we're going to do first. Now we're gonna fill it up with 2/3 water to this little 2/3 marker right here. So go ahead and fill it up. Fill it all the way to that 2/3 mark in the Instant Pot. It's just about there, so let's turn it off. Okay, now that we have the water in our Instant Pot, we want that water to heat up. Make sure you put the saute function on and put it on normal. We don't want to put it on more. If we put it on more, it's gonna start boiling too quickly, and we don't want it to boil, we just want it to get hot. So while we're waiting for it to heat up, let's take our socks or your t-shirt or whatever you want to dye, and we're just gonna put the rubber bands on it. Now just remember, wherever your rubber bands are at, that's where the article of clothing, your sock, your t-shirt, whatever you're dyeing today, that's where it will be white. So just take those rubber bands and let's begin to tie the sock. So just wrap it around. Take another one. Now wherever you see white on this sock, that's what's going to be dyed. So I'm going to use yellow today. So you can do any kind of design you want. You can do a thin rubber band. See this thinner one? We're gonna put that. Just wrap, tie it around there. There we go. I think I'll do one more. Let's do one more of these. Kind of where the start of the toe is at. You might wonder why I'm wearing gloves. That's so we can put the dye in the pot. I don't dye my hands. So you want to wear gloves when we start working with the dye. So I'll just tie, there we go. Can you see that? Now we're gonna go ahead and do the other one. Just like that. They don't have to be perfect. Just remember where that rubber band's at, that's going to remain white. So wherever you see the white, that's where it's gonna have your color, your yellow, your red, your blue, your orange, whatever you're using. So now I tied all the rubber bands on our tube socks. So they look something like this. Can you see that one? Here's the other one. So we have our tube socks, and we have our pair of little no-shows or little footy socks. So we have them both all with their rubber bands. So since we're all done there, we're going to go ahead and add our dye to our Instant Pot since our water's hot. So some of the directions on the different dyes you can find at the store, some might have you add dish soap to it, but some might be salt. So just kind of read your instructions on the back of your bottle of dye and it will tell you what to add to the water. But in this case, we need dish soap and we need the dye. First, we're going to start with the yellow dye. So let's go ahead and add it to the pot. Depending on how concentrated you want the color, that depends how much dye you're going to put. I'm going to do about 1/3 to 1/2 of the thing of dye. So let's go ahead and add it to there. Okay. Then we are going to put 1/4 teaspoon of dish soap. So take it and measure it. And just put it in the pot. Kind of stir it up to mix the color in there. There we go, it's all in there. Now during this process, your pot of water, your Instant Pot, needs to remain hot. Not boiling, but hot. And if you're familiar with using the saute function, it only stays on there for about 30 minutes and then the pot will turn off. So if you need to turn it back on, you can do that to keep the temperature hot. So now we are going to put our footy socks in. So they're all rubber banded and we're just gonna place them in there. Put the other one. I'm gonna use the spoon to kind of put them down inside. Mix it up a little bit. Get a pretty yellow color. Here we go. And now the tube socks, I wanna do it 2 colors. So I'm going to mix red in a little bit to make orange. But first, we're gonna start with the tube socks. So I'm gonna put about 1/2 of it in there. So 1/2 of them get yellow and they're just gonna hang over the edges a little bit. And then we'll dip the rest of them, when we put the orange in there, we'll put them the other way. So the socks will stay in here about 30 to 45 minutes and then we'll come back, we'll take out the little pair of footy socks, we'll rinse them out. We'll add our red dye to the pot to make orange and we'll flip our tube socks around. So we'll see you back in about 30 to 45 minutes. Welcome back everybody. It's been 45 minutes. Now we're going to take our footy socks out of our Instant Pot. We are going to rinse them out under cold water. Now you want to keep your rubber bands in place, so don't remove your rubber bands and just get out as much of that dye as possible. Now that we have our footy socks all rinsed out under the cold water, we are going to take off all the rubber bands. So just take a few minutes and take them all off. We'll see what they look like. So now all the rubber bands are off of both socks. And let's kind of unfold them. Look how cool this is. Very own tie-dyed socks. Now we're just gonna lay them on our drying mat we have and let them dry. Now for your tube socks, have an adult help you because remember this pot of water's hot. So take your tube socks out and kind of wring them out a bit and just put them to the side. Then take your red dye and just put in just a few drops so we can make orange and stir it up. Then take your socks and you want to flip them on the other side. So take this white part and you're gonna have the yellow hanging out and flip them on the other side. And then leave them there for 45 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes, depending on how concentrated you want that color. And then we'll come back. So I finished rinsing out the socks under the water and I took off all the rubber bands and I let them dry. So now our crazy fun tie-dye socks are done. They look like this. These were super fun to make. And then we have our little footies. And I want to show you something else I made. So I made a tie-dye t-shirt. Here we go. And here's the back of it. And this was super fun and easy too. So I did it the same way as I did the socks. I just tied the rubber bands, I tied them on the sleeves, and then I tied them on like the neckline, and I tied it down below, and I did the same exact process. So you don't have to just do socks. You can do t-shirt, headband, whatever you want to do. Now, when you're washing these, make sure that the first time you put it in the washing machine, that you wash them by themselves so that the colors of the fabric do not spread to other fabrics in your laundry. Then things that you have white are going to turn yellow and orange in there. So we don't want that to happen. And as always, you don't have to use an Instant Pot. You can use a pot on the stove. And remember to always have an adult help you when you are using the pot on the stove or the Instant Pot. So join us next time for Crafts in an Instant. Bye bye, see you later.